The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios.
Hi, this is Mia Mosinzia, also known as Mia No Time for Love. Check out my latest book, Missing, available in print and ebook formats on Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios and sponsored by international award-winning author Mia Mosinzia of Missing. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on over 40 podcast platforms, as well as hamiltonradio.net, Diamonds FM, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. We can be heard in over 100 countries, featuring over 1,000 well-known and amazing guests throughout the globe. And named one of the top 100 global podcasts in the New York Weekly Times, Hollywood Entertainment News, Los Angeles Weekly Times, Apple, and Chartable. So sit back and relax and enjoy another great episode of the award-winning Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios and brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mosinzia Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We're here with a terrific gentleman who's a U.S. Army veteran turned author, entertaining friends with stories, observational articles, and various recreational writings, and turning tales of resilience and survival into the acclaimed Crown Acre series. We'll find more about that. He's also writing a post-apocalyptic saga, which basically transcends the storytelling, plunging readers into a world with threats, challenges, and highlighted by resilience and strength and unwavering quest for survival. And in times like these, we're going to need all that. And his mission is basically to equip people with knowledge, tools, and needed to survive and navigate the unpredictable future. And he's got a book called Firearms to Survive, and also the Crown Acre series. And what's that about? We'll find out just one minute, including some tips to survive. Ladies and gentlemen, of Plus Studios in beautiful downtown San Antonio, multi-talented U.S. Army veteran turned author, entertaining readers alike with 5 Firearms to Survive. And it's very important indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, multi-talented Caelan Walker. Caelan, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Mike. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's great to have you on board, Caelan. Sir, U.S. Army veteran turned author, entertaining friends with stories, observational articles, and various recreational writings, turning tales of resilience and survival into the acclaimed Crown Acre series, which is Frostrising, Frostsettles, and Rebelsredemption. Also, you have a post-apocalyptic saga, which transcends storytelling, plunging readers into a world with threats, challenges highlighted by resilience and strength and unwavering quest of survival. And your mission is basically to equip the people with knowledge, tools needed to survive and navigate the unpredictable future. And you have a book called 5 Firearms to Survive, and also 4 tips to being prepared as well. And before getting all that, Caelan, tell us how you first got started.
So I got started when I was in the military. I did serve overseas. I had multiple tours. And I started writing these short stories to kind of have as a coping mechanism, right? I could change small details so that things would go the way that I wanted them to go, or the way that I wish they had gone. And had a very, very select few people that were allowed to read those. And finally, one day, a friend of mine came to me, one of the few that was allowed to read them. And he said, I love your stories, man, but when are you going to quit being a punk and actually write a book? and he didn't say
somebody
punk.
Said that to me a long time ago.
Yeah, he didn't say punk. He used a different word, but we'll keep it clean here.
That's fine.
And when somebody says that, what are your options, really? You either admit you're a punk and you don't write the book, or you write the book. And so I wrote it, and really wasn't sure I was going to publish it. Like right up until the last few pages, I was like, okay, I'm going to write this and then I'm done. And I finished it where it felt like a good place to finish it, that if somebody else read it, they could either use their imagination and it would end, or I could write another story. And it took me about 8 months to write the first book. It took me 90 days to write the second one.
Oh, wow. And that's part of the Crown Acre series?
That's Frostrising is the first and Frostsettles is the second, because it was just like, it was an itch in my brain that I couldn't scratch. I had to get the next set of the story out. So, yeah, that was kind of how it all started. And oddly enough, people other than my friends actually seemed to really enjoy it and wanted to read it. And so I have been keeping it going. And now I have Rebels Redemption is out, which we more than happy to speak about, but that's kind of a world building. I call them my side quest books. And then I also have book 3 in the Crown Acre series is hopefully going to be out in October of this year. So
that's really interesting. And how'd you come up with the name with the Crown Acre series?
So there's actually a neighborhood not far from me, and everything in the neighborhood is named after horses. And like there's Paddock Street and all these other things. And I always thought that was a really cool idea, but I wondered why none of them were named after exact horses. They were just horse stuff, Stirrup Lane and all of that. And so when I started writing this book, I wanted to have something that kind of helped the reader immerse themselves. And so the subdivision where this story takes place, every street is named after a Triple Crown winner.
Interesting.
And so Crown Acres made sense for Triple Crown winner named streets. And there's a lot of subdivisions here in my area that have themes like that. When you go in, they're all trees or something, and it'll be called Orchard Lane, Orchard Estates or something of that nature. So it kind of flowed really well for me.
It flowed. It's somewhere along those lines. I mean, be creative all you want. There's no right or wrong answers here. So as long as you're not horsing around too much. So.
Yeah. And so that was, it really worked out well for me. The only challenge that I got back from friends was like, hey, I need a map, man. So the second book of the series does have a map of the subdivision in it so that people are able to kind of understand a little better where things are happening.
And of course, Rebels Redemption as well, too. That's pretty much where it just sums up a lot of things, maybe just very briefly about that.
Absolutely. So I had this character in mind that I couldn't get past him. I loved everything about him. But every time I tried to introduce him in the main storyline, it didn't fit. He didn't work there.
Oh.
So I had to come up with something because, again, I didn't want to let him go. So I gave him his own story. And the fun thing for me is a lot of these types of post-apocalyptic or end of days type books, they tell a great story, an amazing story of like one area. At most, maybe it goes into the entire state. But generally, that's where it stops. And I didn't want that. I wanted to build more. So while the main continuity, the Frost series that follows Clint Frost and his family, takes place outside of San Antonio, Rebels Redemption is actually in West Texas. And I have other stories coming that will be these world building side stories that take place in other parts of the country that I'm familiar with to tell what's going on there. Because again, we want survival knowledge out of this. It's more than just a fiction story. There's actually knowledge for building one's survivability built into them. And what you do in San Antonio is not the same as what you do in Tennessee or upstate New York or South Dakota. It's different in these areas, and it allows me to tell some more about what's going on in other places, how they're facing this threat, and how they're managing to survive.
That is rather interesting. We talk about the survival tips and more, and also Firearms Survive, more in the Crown Acre series with Caelan Walker. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by SonicWeb Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. SonicWeb Studios is the answer. SonicWeb Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition rate. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first product. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor, the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those that love be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews. And Eve 11 enjoys by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for it goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com on over 40 podcast platforms. Heard in 100 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartradio, also Anchor FM, Odyssey, and also Pandora, Podbean, and follow us on BitChute, Rumble, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and follow us on all social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, and more. Take us with you on any mobile device. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies, makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/me and for great books like Missing, Once and Wrinkles, also T-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, phone cases, and more. Amazon.com/me and Check it out today and support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. We're here with the multi-talented U.S. Army veteran turned author Caelan Walker here on the Mike Wagner Show. And before continue with the Crown Acresseries and the 5 Firearms to Survive, and how'd you first get into the Army as well? Your journey.
So I actually graduated high school in 2002, and 9/11 happened during my senior year. So while my family does have a history of being in the military, I have cousins in different branches. My father was in the Army. Really, there's nothing romantic about it. Myself and a bunch of friends were all angry at what happened, and we signed up because we were going to go do something about it. And didn't exactly go as planned, but we did go do our part, and I made it home.
And what was the most interesting venture that you have while you serve in the Army, and especially overseas? What was the most interesting assignment you had?
Most interesting. That gets man, that's a tough one. I don't know if it was the absolute most interesting, and I'll definitely change names to protect the not so innocent, but one of my favorites was actually that we were stationed at this little outpost that was the nickname for it. I wouldn't say code name, but the nickname for it was the Alamo, because it was about 30 U.S. soldiers and a handful of Iraqi natives out in the middle of nowhere, protecting the families of powerful people in the Iraqi government.
Oh, wow.
So their families were with us to keep them safe so they couldn't be used as influence against them. And we had a lot of adventures out there, a lot of really cool things. But one of the funny ones to me was there was a farmer that owned land that backed up against everything. And he used to, one of the common practices there is they'll burn a field in order to put the nutrients back into it. Controlled burn type of thing. And he came and told us about it. And we thought it was this brilliant idea to fill. One of the guys, for some reason, had water balloons. So we thought it was a brilliant idea to fill water balloons full of what we call mo gas, which would be regular gasoline to most people. Fill it up there and throw them out into the field and just make these giant fireballs go off. And it was really entertaining for us.
I think that's something I should do one day to keep myself entertained. But of course, kids, don't try this at home, by the way. So
never, ever.
No. And of course, you also spent some time writing as well, too. And who's some of your favorite authors writing up, or growing up, I should say?
So growing up, I was actually a really big fan of William W. Johnstone. Huge fan of his. Oh man. Currently really following with Angry American. He writes a very similar style of book to what I do. I like his stuff. And then Garth Stein is another one. The Art of Racing in the Rain is the book that I give to everyone for Christmas gifts.
Oh, nice.
Until I wrote my own, and then I guess now I should probably be giving mine. But and then I also follow David Kilcullen because he writes some amazing stuff from a nonfiction stance. So.
Oh my gosh, you got some really good insights right there too. I think I should get Racing in the Rain. Was there a movie about that one point, Racing in the Rain? Or
the movie is nothing like the book. The book is amazing. Okay. The movie is not. I don't recommend the movie to anyone, but the book is a must read for my family and friends.
Okay, and you also got some must reads as well too. You got the Frostrising, Frostsettles, and Rebelsredemption, and a bit more about Frostrising, how you got started, maybe a little bit of highlight as well, and going into the Frostsettles.
Absolutely. So, Frostrising, again, one of the things I wanted to do was I wanted to address a lot of the tropes that happen in this genre of, excuse me. You have the society has crumbled, the grid is down. Can former Navy SEAL John Smith keep his family safe? And it's like, well, he better be able to, because if a Navy SEAL can't, the rest of us are in real trouble, right? Or some prepper that's been living in the backwoods and has years of supplies and ammo and medical stuff, and it's like, oh my god, am I going to be safe? All of that is very valid stories, and I love all of it, but my main character is none of that. He's not a prepper. He's not a veteran. He's not even a gun guy. He by chance winds up owning a gun in the beginning of the first book. Like, it's not something he's familiar with. He doesn't know how to farm. He doesn't know how to do communications or security or any of these other things that I truly believe most people don't know and don't understand how to do. He's learning from friends. And this is the thing that if nobody takes anything from any of my books except this, I'll be happy. And it's that the tale of one man going at it alone at the end of the world is fun for Hollywood, but it's completely implausible for real life.
Right, that makes sense. And of course, if you're watching these movies, you think one man's going to save the world. Well, I guess you're in fantasy land. I mean, I came and saved the world. Sorry, folks.
I mean, The Book of Eli with Denzel Washington, great movie. But the idea of this lone man walking along, just kicking butt through the wasteland and surviving, that's not how it's going to happen. You're going to need a circle of people. You need a community group to build out and be safe and support one another, because there are skill sets. I mean, I'm writing these books, so you can estimate my skill set in surviving. I still have to sleep. I still could get sick, and I'm going to need support from somebody else. So while I'm maybe more qualified than the average person to walk through that end of the world wasteland type of environment, even I have to sleep. Even I have to risk getting sick, or just needing to eat and letting your guard down while you're doing it. Things of that nature, that you need a community around you. And that's what Clint starts to find out as he goes through this book, is it's bigger than just, oh, I've got my wife and my 2 kids and I've got to take care of them. You take care of them by building out others you can trust. But unfortunately, you can't trust everyone in that world, because
that's true.
Some people are looking for their own as well. So these are some difficult lessons that he has to learn as he goes through.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you got the frostsettles as well, too. And this continues on and gets more into detail, especially survival.
Absolutely. And so the story starts to build out, and we see people taking sides. One of the other, again, tropes that I don't like is some of these books, it seems like whatever event happens, the grid goes down, and 24 hours later, we're Mad Max. Everybody's wearing spiked shoulder pads, killing each other in the streets, etc. I know almost everyone in the country has at some point in time had the power go out. If your power goes out and you go next door and kill your neighbor, when the lights come back on, that's called murder, and you're going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a firm believer it's going to take more than a couple of days for people to start getting desperate and getting into these bad situations. I say cream and crap both float to the top. So there will be people that are in current society less than desirable that will find their way to bad situations as soon as opportunity presents. I'm not ignorant to that. And it is in the books, but there's also people that won't be that evil, that monster, until they get desperate and until the opportunity presents itself and they realize, holy crap, things are not going to go back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
And then their real personality will come out.
Right, and certainly does as well, too. And what are the 4 crucial tips of being prepared, and what are the 5 firearms to survive? We'll find out just one minute with Caelan Walker. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by SonicWeb Studios, and brought to you by official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mulson's Missing. We'll be back with the multi-talented author Caelan Walker of 5 Firearms Survive and the Crownacresseries after this time out.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by SonicWeb Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionzea.com. fivefirearmstosurvive.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey, this is Ray Powers, and boy, are you in luck. Right place, right time. Tuned in to the Mike Wagner Show. You heard me.
We're back with author Caelan Walker here on the Mike Wagner Show, and let's talk about the 5 firearms to survive. But what are they first? The 4 crucial tips to being prepared, and especially having the firearm basics. And that's one of the tips, and tell us more about that.
Absolutely. So one of the primary tips is just like you don't want to learn how to use an air compressor when you have a flat tire. You don't want to learn how to use a fire extinguisher when you have a fire in your house. You don't want to learn how to use a firearm when your life depends on it. So I understand there are varying opinions on firearms, and I am not in any way condoning people run out and buy guns, buy ammo, stockpile all of it. That's not it at all. What I am recommending is that people take an opportunity, go to a local firearm range, go to a local certified, accredited instructor, and get a basic firearms knowledge course. Go out, know what it is to handle a gun, know what it is to point, pull a trigger, hear the loud explosion, see where the target hits. You may acquire a taste for it and be like, wow, this is the greatest hobby ever. And that may be a new thing for you. You may look at it and say, yep, done, checked off. I know the dangerous end. I know how to load it. I know what safeties are. If I never touch a gun again, I'm wonderful. And I'm happy with that too. I am not the guy that says everybody needs 50 firearms and 1,000 rounds for each in their garage. Okay. But I do believe that you should be familiar with how they work and how to safely handle them so that if you ever do need one, you have some form of knowledge to go off of.
And explain some of the other basics as well, too. Handling the gun, maintaining the gun, what to load and everything like that. You know, just the real basics. And especially for the ultimate beginner, what is the most recommended basic gun?
So that's actually why I came up with 5 firearms to survive, because I got the question a lot when people would say, so what gun do I need to survive a major event? There are so many variables in that. I can't even tell you. It depends on where you live, what experience you have, et cetera, et cetera. Generally speaking, I'm going to recommend everybody learn how to fire and specifically how to handle a gun off of a Glock 19, which is a 9mm pistol, and off of I recommend the Ruger 1022 platform, which is a 22 caliber. They're both very friendly for people of all frames, all hand sizes. There's very limited recoil in them. 22s have essentially none. My 8-year-old shoots a 22 and absolutely loves it. Okay. But it's one of those things that, do you need to go out and buy it? Well, the 5 Firearms for Survival is being released as a blog set right now through my website. So if people want to learn more about it, go and sign up, because I do discuss different tiers of firearms. You know, you have a budget tier, you have a higher end tier, you have the elite tier where people are spending $7,000 on one firearm. It's not that it's not worthy. It's that you need to understand the pros and cons of each of these. And we go through, what are the pistols? What are the rifles? What are you using for what I would consider sustainment? A 22 is a wonderful weapon for sustainment. You can take small game all day. What do you have for shotgun? What do you have for et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? So, that would be my recommendation, is you have to stop and look at what your needs are going to be and how you round this out in order to function in that world.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you know, besides having firearms as well, too, part of the 4 crucial tips and the more basic ones is, especially when you're a child, you start a garden.
Gardening is one of the 2 most overlooked skill sets out there. We live in a society where I'm pretty sure I have a package of chips in my pantry that's like 4 years old and it's still sealed up. And I bet if I open it, it's probably still fine. However, that's not a reality for real food. That's for highly processed, borderline fake food that we get from the grocery store. When you come to real food and those crucial nutrients and vitamins you will only get from vegetables and fruits and proteins that you have to actually collect in that world. When we started out as human beings, we were hunters and gatherers, and the hunters got the proteins, but the gatherers got literally everything else that we needed to survive from plants that we began to bring into husbandry and horticulture and make things work for us. It's incredibly important to have a garden now and get started on growing it. Find out what does and doesn't work in your area. How do you keep bugs off when you can't go to Lowe's and get pesticides? What are your options there? What types of plants can you get that the best ones are, in my opinion, are things like asparagus, where it grows, you harvest it, but you don't actually have to replant it. It grows and the part that you eat doesn't kill the plant when it's harvested. Those are wonderful. I'm not a huge fan of asparagus, but for a survival garden, top notch, because it produces readily and you don't have to worry about losing seedlings. Okay. Things like that are incredibly important.
You say asparagus, is that a year-round vegetable that you plant? Is that a year-round thing?
Depends on where you live, but for down here, we can harvest asparagus almost year-round. It does go a little bit dormant in the deep part of winter in January, but almost year-round we can pull it.
What are some other year-round fruits and vegetables you guys can plant?
So celery comes up pretty regularly and will grow out. You just have to be careful with all of these not to over-harvest them, so that they have an opportunity to get healthy enough and grow enough. When you take some, you're not killing the plant off. A lot of herbs and a lot of berry bearing. There we go. There's a tongue twister for you. Berry bearing plants. You have the ability to pull off of them whenever they have fruit. And luckily in areas like San Antonio, you can sometimes get 2 seasons or 2 harvests a season out of them. And like I said, any of the herbs, I highly recommend herbs. Look into herbs that are multifunctional. Yes, we have some that are absolutely amazing, like mustard. They're great for seasoning your food. They also have medicinal properties. And that would be, not to caveat away too quickly, but that is the second area that I think is highly overlooked when it comes to survivability. Is all the time I tell people when they talk about their kit and they've got these amazing rifles and plate carriers and night vision goggles, and they're like, I'm ready for the apocalypse. And I'm like, yeah, where's your, what we call an IFAK, individual first aid kit? Where's your aid kit?
That is important. I think we're just going to cover that. Once you cover the important first aid kit, the essentials, the criticals, and what's needed and everything else. And of course, in case you can't get to a hospital here.
Well, and so that's the thing is, I tell people regularly, you can't bandage a wound with a bullet. You can't take a magazine from your pistol, stick it in there and be okay. That's not how it works. You need basic aid kits and you need to know how to use them. You should be CPR certified. Go take a stop the bleed stop the bleed class. If you don't know things like the saying, seal the box, seal the box, tourniquet the limbs, and pack the joints. That is a very common thing that we are taught. And a lot of people hear that and they're like, I have what box? What are we talking about right now? You need the balance of the two. And this is with firearms. It's with how to purify water. It's everything. You don't just need the materials. You can't just buy them and toss them in a box. You need the knowledge set to go with it. So go take your CPR course, take your basic first aid, take your active shooter first aid, take your stop the bleed courses. These things can be found usually for very affordable prices locally, and then you can gain this skill set. Once you have that skill set, now you can improvise materials if you need to, or if you have the ability, go out and purchase the materials you need.
And of course, another one too, like say if you have to cook food or you have to have light or warmth or anything, building a fire is really essential.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is. It goes back to military rule is 2 is 1, 1 is none. So when I pack my kit, I always have 2 means of a fire. I have 2 means of opening cans. I have 2 pocket knives. I have 2 flashlights, because 2 is 1, 1 is none. It just goes back to this idea of they're all LED now, so you can't really say if the bulb blows, but if the lens cracks or the batteries go dead in my flashlight, I'm out of luck if I don't have a backup. My backup doesn't have to be just as good as my primary, but I need to have some form of backup. Same thing goes for starting a fire. Flint and steel is not fun to start a fire with in most cases, but it's better than nothing. So have a lighter and flint and steel and be able to start your fire no matter what. Because flint and steel doesn't run out of fluid. It doesn't get wet where you can't use it. It's not a bad secondary option to have in there.
And of course, another critical essential is water too, and especially how you manage the water. And of course, that's another big one. And another thing is, how many ounces of water are required for you to survive. I mean, that's a big one. It could be 20 ounces, 64, a gallon, depends on person's needs, and maybe your thoughts on that.
So generally speaking, the rule of thumb is a gallon of water a day per adult. That's not the absolute minimum, but if you're going to start being ready for it now, that's what you want to start calculating with. That gallon of water is for basic water consumption, basic hygiene, being able to wash yourself, being able to wash your dishes, brush your teeth, things of that nature, as well as cooking. So if you're cooking pasta or etc. So that's why I say a gallon a day is not necessarily the absolute need, because you don't have to take a bath every single day. You don't
Right.
have to cook something that requires water every single day. But it's a really solid rule of thumb that people want to go off of. A gallon of water a day per adult, half a gallon for a child, half a gallon for pets. Your dogs may not be thrilled with only getting a half a gallon each of water a day, but they won't die, and that's kind of what we have to look at. And as far as purifying water, there's 1,000 ways to do it, but with all the products out there, I still say, my opinion, the best way is to boil it. It is the one thing that is absolutely foolproof. If you get it to a complete rolling boil, you're good to go. All you have to do is filter out the big chunks of sediment, which can be done with cheesecloth. In a pinch, you can do it with a t-shirt and get most of it out. Boil the heck out of it, and you now have water. There's a bunch of other cool toys. I happen to have one sitting here right by me. There's things like the life straw that you can use, that you can literally just suck water through it. This one in particular hooks into a Camelback pack. So you put the dirty water in the bladder, and then when you start sucking it out, it comes out clean so you can drink it. There's options out there, but at nothing else, boil the snot out of it and or use some iodine. Unless you're allergic, then definitely don't use the iodine.
Yeah, that's something you would definitely not do if you're allergic to it. And what are some of the other survival tips you recommend?
First and foremost is, right now, while you have the chance, go to the garage sales and get those old cookbooks, get the old how-to manuals and things of that nature. We have fallen far out of practice for basic maintenance of our own equipment. And again, just going back to, for me, a lot of the military sayings still ring true. And we used to say, if you don't make time to maintain your equipment, don't worry, your equipment will make it for you, and always at the worst possible time. Because it's always going to break when you need it, right? I just flushed out the water heaters at my house this weekend. Most people don't even know you have to do that, let alone how. So go get those old homemaker manuals. Get the old school versions of cookbooks, because they will have hidden gems in them that you don't need to know them right now. Don't even worry about reading them. I mean, we go around and we buy them for $0.25 a piece at these garage sales, and we stick them in a box and put them up in the attic. Doesn't matter. If we ever need them, we can pull them down and read through them and see what's valid at that point. So it's all about thinking forward of, what do you do when you push a button and nothing happens? I don't care if it's the ignition button on your car, power button on your computer, the home button on your phone. Imagine every button you push, nothing happens. Now what do you do? Just start with that mindset.
And I think that's very important as well too. And where can we find Firearms Survive and all your books at?
Okay, so the blog posts of 5 Firearms to Survive are all being generated off of my website, caelenwalkerbooks.com. So that'll be where you go for those. You can also order signed copies of my books from there. You can get, I got some swag. I've got stickers and bookmarks. I've got t-shirts, things of that nature. You can find them on Amazon as well. The 5 Firearms to Survive and some of the other survival tips have not been put together yet in a published book. They will be eventually, when there's enough of them to kind of warrant that pamphlet. But another thing that's coming out that listeners might find interesting if they like this type of thing is, I'm actually starting a blog series that'll be coming out kind of at random, called The Traveler's Journal.
Okay.
And The Traveler's Journal, like Rebels Redemption, takes place in this same universe, but it's going to be journal entries from a guy who is, I don't want to give away too much, but a guy who is an over-the-road truck driver and gets stuck far from his family and has to find his way back. And so the traveler's journal is going to be his journal entries. And it may be one day a 3-page journal or a 3-page entry about something that happened and details around survival techniques that he learned and this, that, and the third. Or it may just be an entry that says, I am so over this. And that may be all he wrote that day. But it's going to be coming out as journal entries off of the blog. So I'd highly recommend signing up for that. And then eventually it will be a book of everything put together after his story is done.
And a bit more about Rebels Redemption and a bit more what to expect. I know I don't want to give it away, but a bit more about Rebels Redemption, what to expect.
Absolutely. So Rebels Redemption, again, I had this character in my mind, Alex. I loved everything about him. And he is a character that you think you know everything about him. Every time you learn something new, you're like, oh yeah, I figured that. But as you go, you're like, wow, this guy is so much deeper. There's so much more going on here. And his story is this side quest book that helps to build the world. There's a couple of Easter eggs in there. If anybody is going to read the entire series, I recommend book 1 of Crown Acres first, then Rebels Redemption, and then book 2. That would be my order I would push to people. There's some Easter eggs in there that you might notice to kind of connect him to that main continuity. But his story is really just more about how we don't know who people really are until they're put in a position where their true base nature comes out. And some of the people that we think are good may not be. And some of the people we automatically associate as bad might be just what we need in that new world.
So it's basically showing the true colors when the crisis hits.
Exactly. And there are certain groups of people that I think are predisposed to do better in that world than others. I would argue that prison inmates, truck drivers, homeless people are all more inclined to do well in that world than the ones that are doing well in this world. The tech gurus, the stock traders, the bankers. I don't know that they'll do as well.
And that is something interesting I think everybody should take a look at. We're author Caelan Walker of Firearms to Survive and also Crown Acres series here on the Mike Wagner Show. And Caelan, just a couple more things here. We'd love to have you back. What else can we expect in 2024 and beyond?
So 2024, we're going to be finishing up Firearms to Survive. That'll be coming out by the end of July. On the blog post, we're going to be starting the Traveler's Journal coming off of the website blog. October 2024, hopefully book 3 in the main series, Hard Frost, will be coming out. And shouldn't be too long after that. And there may be another side quest as well. I'm hoping to have that out just in time for Christmas, but we're going to have to wait and see how art and editing and everything go for that one.
Well, it could be a Christmas frost. Who knows? So
yeah.
I think we'll find out more about that as time goes on. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Well, Angry American has been a massive help to me as a mentor and as a guide through a lot of this. William W. Johnstone is passed, but he was a major influence when I was younger, so him as well. And then Walt Browning would be another huge mentor in going through all of this. KT Dixon, I got to tell you, the entire genre's authors have all been nothing but supportive and amazing to work with. Brief Conversation with William Forsythe, just great all the way around.
And certainly indeed as well. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Anybody about survivability or about writing your own book?
Or just anything in general?
Honestly, the thing that's come out most to me lately is just your kids are growing up faster than you realize. So take the time with them, because one of these days it's going to be the last time that you hold their hand and walk down the street. It's going to be the last time they ask you to read to them in bed. It's going to be the last time that they run through the house naked after a bath. Like, it's going to stop.
Supposed to be over 18, actually.
But it's going to stop, and you're not going to realize it was the last time until it's too late. So take that moment now.
And survive as well too. So we're here with author Caelan Walker of Firearms Survive and the Crown Acres series here on the Mike Wagner Show. Caelan, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learned a lot. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. We'd love to have you back. Once again, what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your books?
Absolutely. So caelenwalker.com. That's CAELEN walkerbooks.com, Caelan Walker Books. You can also find me on Amazon. I'm Caelan Walker Actual on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, so you can contact me with any of that as well. Always looking for opportunities to do book signings, do readings, things of that nature. And I love hearing from my fans. Even when I have people send me messages and they're like, how dare you kill off this person? Or why haven't you killed off this person? I love hearing all of it. So, and Mike, thank you so much for having me on the show. This has been a blast. I really appreciate it.
And it's great as always. And once again, what is the website?
caelenwalkerbooks.com, CAELEN walkerbooks.com.
We'll encourage everybody to check it out. Once again, Caelan, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. We love having you back. Wish all best. And Caelan, you definitely have a great future ahead.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Mike. Been amazing to be here.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show. Brought to you by international award-winning author Mia Mohsen-Zia of Missing. And powered by Sonic Web Studios. Be sure to join us again on over 40 podcast platforms. And of course on the MikeWagnerShow.com, HamiltonRadio.net, and Diamonds FM. Don't forget to support our program with a generous donation at the MikeWagnerShow.com. Thanks for listening.